You're listening to The Drew Yari Show.
That's the wine and diner with kings and queens.
You're looking at the man. You're listening to The Drew Yari Show.
Hello.
Yeah, hello there.
Yep.
What's up, man?
Not much. Just catching in Dynamite.
Yeah, Kyle was kind of filling me in about what happened.
You broke up.
No, say Kyle in the chat room was kind of filling me in on what happened.
Yeah.
That the Young Bucks attacked Sting and Darby and his sons.
Yeah. And Darby's busted wide open.
Busted wide open, I tell you. So did you? I ask you this every week. Did you enjoy Dynamite?
Better. This Dynamite was better than some of the other weeks, so I'm not really. Still there's still some things about it. I was like, didn't really feel, but it was an okay show.
Yeah, I know they just announced like something big in the next 5 weeks that's gonna be in Boston, which
yes, Mercedes.
Yeah, they
and maybe Okada too.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll talk about that because especially what happened on Vengeance Day, but trying to recover because it's been a long day, so I just needed time to recharge at home, like I mentioned earlier. So
yeah.
But we did see each other. I mentioned that. But overall, how's your day been?
Slow, long day though.
Yeah. These days off, they don't last long, and then you have to go back to work the next day. So which just
sucks.
kind of in my position, but yeah, I mean, we kind of pretty much told you what we did. We just went out and did a little shopping and came to see you for a little bit. Well, not a little bit. I think we were there for like an hour and a half.
About an hour, yeah. Yeah, probably a little bit less than that, yeah.
But yeah, it was a fun day. It was nice seeing you. I mean, I
appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah, I wanted to stop by because I haven't been by in a while, and I feel like a dick. I feel like a dick when I never stop by as much as I like.
I mean, I just appreciate you stopping by when you can. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah, just I do love stopping by, just to kind of talk shop with you. So
yeah,
but it's always a pleasure. It's always a treat getting to see you whenever I can, and it's always fun coming by the store. We put those. I put those stickers to good use that I bought.
Oh yeah.
I put them on my PS5.
Oh, there you go.
So we got that going. Money well spent. We got a nice little chat coming up. We got Maurice. What's up, Maurice? We have Wavy Bone. I don't think I've seen you here before. Jinx O. Kyle, of course. Drifter 86. Keith, what's up, man? Scott and Simply Precious. Should be a fun show. A big chunk of it, I'm gonna guess, is gonna go to the big topic at hand. As
wonder what that can be.
I don't know, a certain movie star, a certain man who has a.
You mean the Rock and Cody Rhodes? You're saying?
Well, I don't want to spoil any names. I'm going to talk.
Well, I mean, everyone knows. Like, you mean, don't.
Trying to be cheeky. I'm just trying to be cheeky, but about a man who has a great sense of smell about what he's making. I'll just put it that way, but I'll just leave it at that. But go ahead.
Oh, I didn't say nothing. Yeah, I'm waiting on you.
Oh, I guess that was an echo. But let's start shit. Let's just start shit and fuck a countdown. But Welcome to the experience, people. It's Wednesday, and it's been quite an interesting 5 days in the world of wrestling, specifically on one topic. I guess you could say like 3 topics. This involves 3 different people. But it's been 5 days, and what's up, Maurice? You already know me. I'm Drew. Welcome back, and with me, as always, is the man himself.
Yeah, somebody, Justin from Spinebuster Tees and spinebustertees.com.
You. And if you guys already didn't know, in the past 5 days. So, we can just jump into it. So, SmackDown, which is always every Friday. It was last Friday in Birmingham, Alabama. What's up, Scott? For the most part, I mean, SmackDown was actually a pretty good show. It was it was a good show.
Overall, it was a good show, yeah.
Great show. I mean, the stuff with Bayley and Damage Control I thought was great. Great setting up that match, making us care about it. I mean, we can talk about as soon as we're done, with the big topic at hand. Everything else, the show worked. Previously... Previously on WWE. So last Monday, you had Cody Rhodes come out, the night after the Rumble. Or no, I guess the Monday after Saturday's Rumble on Raw. And looking like he was going to choose his opponent, which we kind of figured who it was, after the Rumble. When he won, he not only pointed to the sign, he pointed to Roman Reigns and said, "Roman Reigns, I choose you. You're my opponent." Kind of like he was in Mortal Kombat or something. As he's about to choose Roman, Seth Rollins comes out, and Seth kind of makes the case of, instead of going after Roman, come after this title, because this is the title to wrestle for. This is the workhorse title. Why would you want that? Why would you want the Hollywood title instead of, the title that Dusty and Harley Race and Ric Flair wore? Which we all knew what the point of that title, what the point of that was, is to not make it too obvious that Seth is going to choose Roman. It's to make the matches mean something, which we got. I mean, I was a little annoyed that Seth came out, but I understood it. And on Friday, they actually had an interesting vignette where Seth is doing a voiceover saying, I forgot how he worded it, where it's just like, why would you want Psycho Sid and the Ultimate Warrior when you can have Ric Flair and Harley Race? And he's just naming all these random people. So I'm like, you're basically just burying everybody who's been a WWE champion, but whatever. But so Cody comes out to make his decision, quote unquote, and I think Roman comes out first, and then I think it was Cody that came out first, or Roman. Either way, it doesn't matter. But Cody talks to Roman and pretty much just says, you cheated, last year, and I had you, and you knew, and you know it. I don't just want to finish my story. I don't just want to take your title. I want to take everything from you. So Roman Reigns, I'm coming after you. Just not at Mania. And, I've sought counsel from different people, from friends and family, also legends. And one of these legends, they happen to know you pretty well. And The Rock's music hits, comes out. They do a bit where Rock goes up to Cody and shakes his hand and whispers something in his ear. And Cody just has this very perplexed and almost kind of somber look on his face. Cody walks out. The Rock and Roman have a stare down. Place goes nuts because it's The Rock and it's Roman. We haven't seen that in a while. And that's how SmackDown ends. Which led to a shitstorm on fucking social media. Which I can't pretend to be innocent. I partook in that as well. I was not too happy with the idea being presented that The Rock decided to politic himself into the main event of this year's Mania and leave Cody out in the dust. Which Cody is the guy right now, as we all know, and Cody deserves that spot. He's the most over guy, the most over babyface in the company. He's Captain America. And then you have The Rock come in, who doesn't wrestle, and you just politics himself into a Mania match. To which you said earlier when I saw you in the shop, this is a Mania match, just not this year. Like, this is the wrong
Right.
WrestleMania to have this match.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm totally fine with it being at WrestleMania. Just not this year's WrestleMania. How come it couldn't happen last year? How come it can't happen next year? So, yeah.
Right. So, tomorrow will be a press conference in Las Vegas to promote WrestleMania this year. And the big dogs are going to be there. Roman, Rock, Cody, I think Rhea is going to be there. A few other people. So that will pretty much set the stage as to what we're going to expect this year at WrestleMania. Maybe even next year. And there's just been news coming out of legit news sites.
It's overwhelming amount of news to where that we cannot even cover like even half of it.
Oh no.
But I'm pretty sure we'll get through the main points of the news that came out.
Right, and I have it right here. So, everything we know so far about WWE's WrestleMania plans for The Rock and Cody Rhodes. Fightful Select had addressed it on Tuesday. It's becoming increasingly difficult to keep the various stories straight, let alone their respective sources. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Since this is the subject that appears to be the most contentious and contradictory, it began on February 3rd, the day after The Rock's SmackDown return, when Dave Meltzer, most notably that the change had come as a response to CM Punk's injury, combined with a fallout from the Janelle Grant lawsuit that led to Vince McMahon's resignation, which also... Jesus Christ. Okay. Which also appeared to implicate Brock Lesnar, resulting in him being removed from creative plans for Mania. Dwayne pushed super hard for it, Meltzer wrote. The card changed when Punk and Brock were out and all the dominoes fell. Dwayne already wanted it, and they felt now they needed it as well. Felt this was better to change the news flow away from Vince. Cody was the plan. Dwayne was going to face him later, maybe next year's Mania, maybe Saudi. Shit happens with Vince and Punk. The Vince thing ends up worse than they thought, and they changed the plan. I literally didn't know up until yesterday that it could change, and then I was told it's under lock, but it's 100% it was Punk versus Seth and Cody versus Reigns until Punk got hurt. 2 days later, however, on February the 5th, on Wrestling Observer Radio, saying the decision had been made earlier in the month when Johnson signed a deal with TKO that made him a board member, gave him ownership of the Rock trademark, and then awarded him TKO stock valued at $30 million. Meltzer previously reported that the contract announced on January 23rd had also been signed on January the 3rd. And then we made the deal on January 3rd to come in. The WrestleMania match was part of the deal. Why Cody Rhodes won the Rumble was a question that I cannot answer because nobody will answer it for me. But the belief that it was Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes and nobody knew, but the deal had been made prior to that. And it was a push by The Rock to move into the Mania main event, backed by top TKO group holding execs. It was made by a move to save WrestleMania, quote-unquote, following the unexpected unavailable of Punk and Lesnar, and it just kind of goes on to repeat the same shit. But according to this, The Rock pretty much just politics. Kyle's saying it's a work. It's
not. No. It's not a work. It's a shoot that became a work.
Right.
Rock wanted this match. He wanted the one-on-one match with Roman Reigns, and they were going to have Cody versus Seth. Those were the plans. Now they are forced to pivot and turn this situation into a storyline, which is now becoming a work. This was if it was a work, if it was a straight work, Cody would have still picked Roman up front, and The Rock would just insert himself in the match, and it would just been a triple threat, and it would have been telegraphed that way. But the fact that they are going through this way, inadvertently, they're making Cody, even more bigger babyface out of it. But this was not the plan.
All right.
And one thing I will tell you is that This is not a Triple H decision. Period.
No.
I don't want anyone to tell me anything different. Triple H was not involved in this decision. Apparently, this was above his head. Apparently, this is even above Nick Khan's head. This was a Ari Emanuel decision, and probably within the close circle, and a Rock decision as well. With that being said, Brian Gerwitz, who was a writer for the Attitude Era and who's really a writer for The Rock, he is pretty much in charge of what's going on with The Rock and how The Rock is being creatively wrote for in WWE. What that sounds like to me is that if The Rock's in control of what's he's on the board now, which means he has some control of what we see on TV. Guys, I'm going to say this right now. I would not be surprised if Triple H is losing control of creative. Not to say that he's going to be losing full control of creative, but when it comes to certain storylines, I wouldn't be surprised if Triple H is losing control of creative. I also wouldn't be surprised if they decide to give Triple H the boot for one reason or another. Brian Gerwitz is going to be the new head of creative. I'm just saying. The everything is there lined up for it. Not to say that it's going to happen. That Triple H is out creative and he has no control anymore. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that pay attention to what's going on, connect the dots together, and you can clearly see that if for one reason or another, if Ari Emanuel or Nick Khan is forced to get rid of Triple H, Brian Gerwitz is going to be the new head of creative for WWE. Just saying. Not saying that's going to happen. Again, I'm not saying it's happening. I'm not saying that has a chance of happening right now. I'm just saying if it does, pay attention to what's going on. But this whole Cody, Rock Roman situation is nuts. It's crazy. It's just fucking nuts. It's like Daniel Bryan circa 2014 all over again. But there's a ton of news out there, and I'm sure Drew's gonna get into more of it. But the major things that you guys need to understand is that this is not originally as a work. This was a shoot. They wanted Roman versus Rock and Cody versus Seth. They pivoted to it seems like, and we'll know tomorrow. We'll know a lot more information tomorrow. It seems like they may be pivoting to Cody being inserted somehow in this feud, which rightfully so. But a lot of people will ask, well, why did Cody win the Rumble? Well, the plan was to have Cody versus Seth. But at the time, because there were some people who did not know about, some people didn't know about the direction of The Rock until later on in the week after the Royal Rumble. So even though that as of January 3rd, this was the plan to have The Rock, come in and, face off against Roman Reigns, blah, 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 blah. A lot of people within WWE did not know about that until, I will say maybe like the day before, that Thursday before, last Thursday, before SmackDown. So, again, Cody, alluding to Roman Reigns, pointing at Roman Reigns and, going through the press conference and, going to that Monday and, kind of, say, hey, I'll think about it to Seth. That was all of them going by the book, but plans changed. Well, I won't say plans changed, but plans for Cody, when he realized, changed for him around that Thursday, Friday, when they were going to SmackDown. So there's a lot. This is still breaking, obviously, right? And we'll probably we will find out tomorrow on what direction that we'll be seeing for WrestleMania. But as of right now, the way I'm feeling that Cody will get his moment. And another thing too, as well, you gotta you gotta kind of think about like all these outlets out there. Remember a couple weeks ago, Drew, the whole Sports Illustrated thing, Justin Barrasso and saying that Cody won't finish his story.
Yep.
He doesn't look so bad now, after all, now does he?
Again,
someone told him something. Someone had to tell him something for him to put that shit out there.
We're not gonna know till tomorrow.
Well, we won't know until tomorrow, but before that, like, he was saying, oh, he's not gonna finish the story, and people went down his throat because, like, oh, that's yeah, you know what I mean, like, like. I don't know who he was probably told from, but I don't know if it was someone that obviously it had to have been somebody that was that works directly closely with The Rock if it's going to Sports Illustrated. So yeah, but continue on.
I mean, you kind of hit on most of the points, but it's just like, again, like we said, the press conference is tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central Time, so 5 Eastern. So, as far as I know, there's a swerve. I mean, I know The Rock's been very cryptic about how he's viewing this, I guess, this new run, back with the company, because he said, before, whenever he, gave his first interview as being, a new member of the board member, or the TKO board, which is, I'm in it for the long game. And, they had a video of him coming out of his jet, showing up to Las Vegas, and kind of saying the same thing, and also saying, people are going to talk about this press conference for a long time. So
that's just him selling it.
Yeah.
That's just him selling it. I mean, he could really mean that, everyone's going to be talking about this press conference for a long time. But, Rock's salesman. And it may just be a regular press conference. And worst case scenario, Cody is not involved in the main event of WrestleMania. That would be terrible, but
it's also like you said earlier, The Rock is too smart, and he's also like, I don't think he's gonna want to do it. And again, I don't know The Rock. Obviously, I don't. I mean, I wish I did. Maybe I can get some money from him, but just something about this just doesn't feel right to me, and I'll explain why. Because it's like I explained to you earlier. It'd be like if I said, "Hey, there's a new Batman movie coming out," and it's like, but it comes out in 2 weeks. It's like you need build up for something like that. A match like Roman Reigns and The Rock, people have been wanting that for a while, but there hasn't really been any build up. There's just been very cryptic.
Has there not been build up though?
There's just been cryptic.
I mean, that hasn't been built up on TV, but
not to the extent of
this potential match for the last 3 years.
Not to the extent of John Cena and The Rock.
Again, because that was on TV originally.
Even though there hasn't really been any build-up, because it's just been The Rock saying, I want this match to happen, and Roman kind of, laughing off and talking shit, but nothing.
I agree with you. It hasn't been that much of a build-up compared to Roman. I'm sorry, to Cena and Rock, but there has been some type of build of anticipation for this match to happen for sure.
Yeah, anticipation, but it's just like WrestleMania is in 2 months, and you have a guy who's one of the biggest stars in Hollywood and one of the biggest stars in wrestling, and The Rock, and then you have, the current biggest star in wrestling in Roman Reigns, regardless of how you feel about him, and you're gonna build this match up in 2 months. I don't see it. And also, you have two guys that are part-timers. You have Rock, who is 52 years old, who needs to be in
a part-timer. He's not even that.
Well, no, Rock's 52 years old, and he needs to get in wrestling shape, because when we saw him come out at the beginning of the year against Jinder, he was getting gassed just cutting a promo. And even when he did the People's Elbow and the Rock Bottom, it didn't look right. So he needs to get in wrestling shape, and it's going to take more than just 2 months, and I think The Rock knows that. And then Roman is Roman. He's a part-timer, and I hate to bring this up, but it's obvious, leukemia. He has the leukemia thing, so we don't know when that's going to rear its ugly head. But this is a match that needs a year. Kind of like Cena and, Rock had, after 2011, when The Rock came out in 2011, and the day after Mania is when he made the challenge. To Cena saying, next year in Miami, The Rock and John Cena, that needs to happen. I don't know where Mania is going to be next year. They haven't really gave us any hints as to where it's going to be. But just again, this is one of those instances of like I want to be wrong, and I hope this is the instance of like, let's say one of two things.
Prediction. Make a prediction. What do you think? What do you think the end game is going to be of this?
Well, I was about to get into that. So I have two scenarios, and both involve the main event being next year. So The Rock can say The Rock, Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, the biggest main event in WrestleMania history next year. And then he just tells Cody, finish your story. Or they sign a contract for it to have the main event of WrestleMania be Rock and Roman Reigns, but Roman doesn't realize that it's going to be next year. So you have all that year for build-up, and Cody gets to finish his story. Because, again, going back to Cody, why is Cody going to want to finish his story against Seth? He's beaten Seth 3 times. And I know Seth's whole point on Monday was, 2 years ago I was a different wrestler. Now I need to know if I'm a different wrestler, if I'm as good as you, or even better than you. So it's just like, okay, that's a good selling point. But it's like, we've seen this match. Like, Cody winning a consolation prize title. Let's just be real. The World Heavyweight title is not even the most important title in the company. It's maybe like the 3rd or 4th most important title in the company. You have the WWE title, you have the Intercontinental title, you have the US title. I mean, maybe even Rhea's championship is, more important than that.
You put the US title over the World Heavyweight title?
Yes.
No, I know Logan Paul's winning it, but that's just invalid.
It's had more time. But again, just another argument for another time. But like, I don't know. Something about this that just doesn't smell right to me. And again, we're not going to find out till tomorrow. And if they decide to make this the main event of Mania this year, it's not going to go over well. Again, you have the people that are in the camp of like, I want to see this, and it's box office, which I'm getting tired of hearing that word. Along with let this play out and box office.
It is like it is box office, but it's just not the right time for the match.
Yeah, but it's just like anytime I want to see reasoning of like, why do you want to see this match? It's box office. It's like that's the only word I hear, and it's just like, well, how's about you build it up for next year, and it can truly be box office, because Mania already sold out even before the possibility of this match being the main event this year happened. So it's just like this year's Mania didn't necessarily need this match because it was already sold out.
Well, I'm gonna look at now again. Obviously, I agree with you, but I'm gonna look at it from the perspective of TKO. Yes, It's sold out, right? But you want to look at, because this is the very first WrestleMania with Endeavor, right? Very first WrestleMania with the Endeavor merger. Okay, that's number one. Also, number 2, they are looking at to monetize this as much as possible. Obviously, tickets are sold on both nights, and they're sold out. Mm-hmm. But they're looking at this from a perspective of people who don't have Peacock right now, who wants to check out WrestleMania. They have to buy if they want to watch The Rock, right? They're thinking about trying to make as much money as humanly possible with this WrestleMania. Now, we got the press conference tomorrow. Where's the press conference at?
Vegas.
Obviously, I think Vegas is going to be WrestleMania 41. I think they're going to announce that tomorrow. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2. Yes, they can do the match next year, right? I just don't think that they're going to do that. And here's the reason why. Go back to what Cody said. What did Cody say on SmackDown to Roman Reigns? He said,
"Not at Mania.
I'm going to take everything from you, just not at WrestleMania." Why would they have him go out there and say that and have that not be true? Now, again, I still think it may be Cody versus, Cody being involved. But Endeavor right now, they're looking to make a splash, obviously, because they got the Netflix deal, they got the new USA Network deal, they got all these different things going on right now. All they care about is money. They don't care about us. They don't care about, what our opinion is. I truly think that, The Rock probably truly thinks that when he first came out and take over Cody's spot, like, oh, hey, this is gonna be a big hit. This is gonna be a big hit, and they were not expecting the boos to that magnitude. I'm more than sure that, because The Rock, 9 times out of 10 is loved, right? His music hits, and people pop for that, and he didn't think that after all this that he was gonna get booed, and the Die Rocky Die and Rocky Sucks chants, and people out there saying, oh, I'm gonna boycott Terramana. Like,
I kind of disagree with that, and I'll explain why. Because it's like you said, The Rock is smarter than we give him credit. I think The Rock had to have known there was going to be some backlash, maybe not to this magnitude of his daughter getting death threats, which is fucking stupid.
Yeah, just retarded.
It's just leave his kid alone. She has nothing to do with this. So I like to think The Rock has that kind of he knows he has that appeal, that he's beloved by the public, but he's also, at the end of the day, he used to be a wrestler. He knows how this shit works. And I think he knew there was going to be some blowback of him, taking a spot from another guy who deserved it more.
I agree. However, didn't he have this similar type of blowback with trying to take over, DC movies and shit like that for Black Adam?
Yep, and Fast and Furious and a few other things.
So I know wrestling obviously is his baby, and he respects pro wrestling probably more than anything else in movies. What makes you think that he gets on the board, and probably one of the promises on him being on the board is you get this WrestleMania main event with Roman Reigns? What makes you think that, for sure, that this is not anything different? Now again, I give The Rock credit. He's obviously a smart guy. He's a great, he's a great brand for himself, and he's a great advertiser for himself as well. But what makes you think that in his head he thought, oh man, Roman versus myself, that's gotta be the biggest match ever?
Yeah, I mean, because they have been teasing it for a while. I mean, they even teased it on his show, Young Rock. They had a scene where
exactly,
they had a young Roman Reigns, be like, oh, it's going to be the biggest match ever. It's going to be at WrestleMania or whatever. So, but I don't know. Just again, I like to think The Rock is a lot smarter than to think there's not going to be any blowback. You know what I mean? This
he
isn't
doesn't
about
care. He doesn't care about blowback. I don't think he doesn't care about being booed. The Rock doesn't care about that. He cares about the bottom line. That's making money. That's it.
I think he does care about being booed. Personally.
No, he doesn't. There's people that I listen to that are in the know with WWE, and I won't say that they know The Rock, that they're close to Rock, but they are mutual friends, and I've listened to several interviews where they say in particularly that The Rock, at the end of the day, he doesn't care if he's being booed or cheered. The bottom line is he wants to make money. Period.
Just, dude, that Philly crowd is going to eat him alive if that happens.
No, yeah. But do you think he cares? No.
I think he does. I think a part of him does. It's going to be
do you think he cares? Okay, what do you think he cares more about? Being booed or making a shit ton of money for this WrestleMania?
Obviously money, because he's a businessman, okay. But at the end of the day, that's where that ego comes in of why are they booing me? What did I do? You know what I mean? Just again,
he knows what he did, but again, the money to him is more important, right? Which is fine, right? This is what you're what you're in for. You obviously you're for the business and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, you got to take care of your situation, your family, your businesses, things of that nature. I'm not saying 100% that The Rock wouldn't be, I won't say bothered, but like that his ego won't get bruised by it. But he puts that shit to the side for the fucking money at the end of the day. And in results, he doesn't really give a fucking shit.
Which is dangerous. Which is going to be dangerous because it's just like, again, do it next year. Because if you do it this year, you're going to have a 52-year-old Rock that hasn't had a match. I'm going to say a full match. He hasn't had a full match in almost 11 years. And you're going to have Roman. Who's leading the match? Because Roman can't lead a match. No, Roman can't lead a match. Roman.
Oh my god, you're not giving Roman credit. He can lead a fucking match.
I give Roman credit. Roman can work, but Roman.
So you don't think he's never led any matches before?
He works better.
Who led the match between him and LA Knight? Did LA Knight led the match?
I mean, look how that turned out.
It was all right. It wasn't a bad match.
I don't know. Just Roman
or him and Jay. You think Jay just led the match?
Roman,
you're not giving him the proper credit.
When he's in the ring with someone that's better, he needs to be led. He's if this were dancing, he needs a partner that can lead.
This match is gonna suck regardless.
Oh yeah, it's gonna suck. It's gonna be boring.
It doesn't matter who's being led. The match is gonna suck.
It's gonna be a la Goldberg, Brock Lesnar at Mania.
Well, I was thinking more Hogan and Andre, but yeah, sure.
I mean, that match was actually loved. Those two were beloved. This is not going to be beloved by anybody.
I mean, it's a different time period. I mean, you compare 1987 to 2024, but again, as I mentioned before, I truly think that the match is going to suck. The Rock, I don't think maybe to your point, maybe a little part of him cares, but at the end of the day, it's like, fuck feelings. Fuck what's going on. I'm here to make money. I'm here to, I have this biggest house here. Hey, we got over, I'm just going to throw a number out there. I don't know how true it is. Hey, we have over 1 million people, streaming this fucking WrestleMania both nights. And, and I help contribute to that. At the end of the day, when he goes backstage and drinks some fucking Terramana, he ain't gonna give a fuck.
I don't know, because again, going back to entertainment, he pretty much destroyed the DC universe, with his shitty movie. He tried...
I mean, DC universes are already on fucking life support anyway.
Well, he pretty much pulled the plug. I'll just put it that way. And then Fast and Furious, he tried to make it all about him, and everybody thought the feud with him and Vin Diesel, that it was Vin Diesel, and then he found out it was The Rock because he wanted to make it all about him.
Well, Fast and Furious sucks anyway, so I don't even watch those movies. So
I mean, it makes money, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, it's just not my cup of tea.
And then he has that awful show where he casts people that do not look anything like the wrestlers that he fucking worked with, and just now he's back in WWE trying to.
Oh, you're talking about Young Rock?
Yeah, Young Rock. He's the only one that actually looks like himself. Everybody else is like, dude, do you even remember who any of these people look like? It's just he. Again, I'm telling you, his ego is going to get bruised. He has to be smarter to know this is not going to work. If you do this now, do it next year. Just don't do it now, because that match is going to get booed from that Philly crowd. They're not going to give a fuck. But again, it's The Rock. He makes money. At the end of the day, this is about him wanting to make money rather than have a good Mania. And you're going to have a match that's going to suck. And it's going to be predictable as fuck. So just again.
So what's your official prediction for tomorrow? Do you think that Cody gets in starting the match, or do you what's your official prediction for tomorrow?
Are you telling me what I think is going to happen, or what I want to happen?
What do you think the end result's going to be?
Again, cop-out answer. What I think will happen?
What do you... No, I'm not asking for your personal... obviously, Roman versus Cody. Obviously, that's everyone's fucking answer. I'm asking you, when you watch tomorrow, what do you think is going to be the end result of the press conference. Do you think it's gonna be Roman versus Cody versus The Rock? Do you think it's a night 1 main event, night 2 main event with Roman? He's wrestling twice. Like what do you think the actual end result of all this is gonna be?
In the end, I think Cody is gonna get his moment. He's gonna finish his story the way it should be since he came back, almost 2 years ago. So I think that's gonna be it. And we're going to get Roman versus Rock, but more than likely either till not next year or...
So you think it's going to be Roman versus Cody?
Well, no, let me finish real quick. Or they might just do what I've been pitching for like almost 2 years, and that's night 1 can be Cody versus... Or no, night 1 can be Roman versus Rock. And that'd be a nice way for Roman to kind of like... really kind of get over. I mean, not get over. Let me kind of backtrack. That'd be again, another notch in Roman's belt of like, I just beat The Rock and I already beat your ass last year. What are you gonna do now? And then night 2 is Cody and Roman, and then Cody essentially just becomes a Super Saiyan and uses a spirit bomb to defeat the evil Roman Reigns.
So they'll do the WrestleMania 10 storyline, which I'm okay with. I think that it's probably going to be that. I would be okay with a triple threat. And I mentioned this earlier too, and I'm being dead serious. If you want all this backlash to go away and like, this triple threat, it kind of, it's not the match that we wanted, and I don't care about this match. Have Cody stack and pin both fucking Rock and Roman, and make Cody the fucking badass babyface. And that'll make him more than fucking over at that fucking point in time if he stacks both of them. And that'll be a good callback too. As well. So,
it'd be interesting, and I just thought of this right now. So tomorrow at the press conference, Roman and Rock are about to sign their contract. Cody comes in and kind of subtly mentions what Arn Anderson told him in AEW. Which is, a wise man once told me that there's two kinds of men in the world. There's a man who's going to get pulled over on the road, with a gun in his face and say, please don't hurt me. And then there's another man who's going to take that gun and blow your brains out. I'm going to take the latter. Rock, I was happy to let you be in Mania, but this is my story, not yours. And then he ends up signing his name on the contract and makes it a triple threat. So do something like that, because on Friday, just again, Cody looked perplexed. He looks somber, and he kind of looked like a cuck, just letting Rock take his spot. Even on the fucking website, I don't know if you saw that article on the WWE website where it said Cody refused to challenge Roman. So
yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
Rock stood up to Roman, which is like, are you fucking kidding me? He didn't refuse to face Roman. He wanted to face Roman.
Oh yeah, they want to write whatever narrative that they want to,
Which again, if we find out tomorrow, this has all been one big giant swerve to make Cody look like pretty much Cody Christ. It's genius. I'll say it. It's going to be genius. By the end of the year, if we ever do like a swerve of the year or storyline of the year, this is going to be it. I'm already calling it right now. This is going to be storyline of the year if we ever do a storyline of the year award for our year-end award. So, it's just, again, the scope of WrestleMania, the hierarchy of WrestleMania is we're going to find out tomorrow. That's pretty much all I got to say about it.
Yep.
Oh man, almost did an hour on that shit. So, all right, but the rest of SmackDown, we can talk about the rest of SmackDown now.
Yeah, I mean, just blow by. I mean, I don't think no one here cares.
I mean, I don't want to say they don't care, but you had Logan Paul come out to, talk about his match, and then Kevin Owens comes out and blah blah. Again, good opening segment. And then you had a fatal four-way tag team contenders match where you had 4 SmackDown teams. And the winner of that will face a winner from a Raw team, and they will face each other this Friday. Which also Cody Rhodes is advertised to be on SmackDown this Friday. So, I don't know what that
Yeah,
means.
so so it ended up being Mustache Mountain. I still call him Mustache Mountain. Tyler Bates and Pete Dunne winning that match. It was a good match. It was a good match for what it was. So they'll be facing DIY this Friday. So
Nice. And then Bayley made her WrestleMania decision. They basically did a Triple H and Batista thing where Damage Control was saying, Bayley's done tonight. And while they're leaving, you just see Bayley creep out of the corner and just have this very disheveled look on her face like, oh, man. So she comes out to make her decision, and it was a great promo.
it was a great segment. Yeah,
Great segment. And there was a point where Bayley starts speaking in Japanese and says, "You didn't think I could speak Japanese, did you?" And then she chooses EO to be her WrestleMania. Or no, before that, Damage Control, ganged up on her, and EO didn't really get involved. And then they have a little face-off to where like Bayley has a chair. Was it a chair or a lead pipe?
I don't remember. I think it was a lead pipe.
And so they have a face-off where EO has her belt and Bayley has her lead pipe. And then Bayley says, "I'll see you at WrestleMania, EO." So, wonderful. Cinema. That's pure cinema. And then Bobby Lashley and his group versus the Final Testament, which went to no contest after B-Fab came out and took out Scarlett, so it was kind of a waste of time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, B-Fab officially joined the Pride, so yeah, I'm happy for her. She has a semi-new look, so hopefully she hopefully she thrives in this role.
Cool. Yeah, good for her. She's getting work, so good for her. And then you had Braun Breaker appear on SmackDown, and Adam Pearce trying to lure him to Raw. And then Jade Cargill showed up, and blah, blah, blah. Tiffany Stratton had her debut match on the main roster against Michin. Fantastic match. Stratton looking like a star like we always knew she would, and she had a good opponent, Michin, to kind of like break her in, essentially. Tiffany got the win, doing her, what's the move called? The prettiest moonsault?
Yeah, PME.
PME. So, good to see Tiffany. Good to see Tiffany looking like $1 million. And then, we all know how the show ended. So, but that was SmackDown. So SmackDown happened. Let's get to Vengeance Day. NXT Vengeance Day was on a Sunday, which is weird to think about. February 4th, it was in the FM Bank Arena in Clarksville, Tennessee. There were 6 matches. The first match was a men's Dusty Road Tag Team Classic Final. The winners received a future Tag Team Championship match. The Wolf Dogs, Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker, defeated Trick and Mellow Gang by pinfall. Nice opening. Fantastic match. A little surprised. I thought Trick and Mellow Gang were going to win to kind of prolong the story. But they lost. Because there was a point where Braun goes for a spear on Mellow. And Trick, I don't know if maybe he flubbed the spot. I don't know, maybe he was supposed to get like knocked down. But I think they botched the spot, or maybe like Trick didn't like time it well enough. But he looked like he literally fell out of the ring to kind of sell the spear, even though he didn't get speared. But Breaker speared Mellow and got the win, and Trick couldn't get in the ring in time. So now the Wolf Dogs are the Dusty Cup or Dusty Classic tag or winners or whatever we're going to call them. But what'd you think?
Pretty good opening match. All 4 did great in here. Baron Corbin, Braun, and Trick and Mellow. It was a little bit of a scary spots in the match. It seems like the ropes were not, fully functional, because the spot with Braun almost breaking his fucking neck and fucking Trick. Mello almost necking himself on a moonsault. So it looks like they fixed the ropes afterwards, and everything seemed fine after that. So, but it was a good opening match.
Nice. Next is Dijak versus Joe Gacy in a no disqualification match. Fucking awesome match. I think it was last year that Dijak had a match with Ilya. It was like I think it was like a I Quit match or a last man standing match. And that was fantastic too. This was almost as fantastic, but still fun to watch. I like Joe Gacy in this new role. I've never really been high on Joe Gacy too much. I personally always thought he was just Diet Bray Wyatt, and the gimmick he was trying to pull. But he's more entertaining in this because he is getting over with the fans. He doesn't look like he's just phoning it in or he's just playing a character. He looks like he pretty much is the character of being this very hyper, happy, kind of creepy, crazy guy in the match. And him and Dijak worked well together. Granted, this was a gimmick match, but it worked out the way it did. Gacy bringing out toys and Legos for a spot on the table in the match, and then the match was everything you wanted to be and more. It was 11 minutes. I thought it was longer. It felt longer to me, not in a good way, because I was enjoying myself. It was paced well. Dijak got the win, as we all expected, and then as he's pinning Gacy's still smiling, like even being like defeated and getting his ass whooped, he's still smiling. He loves it. So Dijak got the win, as we all expected. But what'd you think?
It was a fine match. It wasn't anything great, nowhere near it, but I thought both guys worked hard there, and Gacy's great in this role as well. Dijak is obviously fantastic on what he does in the ring. So match overall was okay. I mean, it was all right. It was just something that you'll probably see in the main event on NXT. That's not a bad thing, but again, it wasn't anything to write home about. But still a good match.
Okay. Next is a 6-person tag match. You had the D'Angelo family, Tony D'Angelo, Shane Sax Lorenzo, and Adriana Rizzo versus OTM, Out the Mud, Lucian Price, Bronco Nima, and Jada Parker with scripts. I would say maybe my least favorite match of the night, not because it was bad, but it was kind of a match where I was zoning out a little bit. Again, nothing against the talent in the ring. I like Tony D'Angelo. Stax, I think, is very underrated. Rizzo, I need to see more of her.
I thought she did really well.
Oh yeah, she was good. Jada Parker, I like. Again, she's still green, but again, that's what the Performance Center's for. So NXT's for. Out the Mud, I'm still kind of. The jury's still kind of out, even though they've been here for a few months. But I mean, they're not terrible, but I don't know. I think they probably should have won this match to kind of make them feel more important. Because I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like they're pushing them a lot, but they're not getting these big wins. And I think they really should have gotten this win. But I don't know. That's just me. But what'd you think?
Fine match. I think all 6 in here looked good. Mm-hmm. Like you said, Sax is underrated. And I really like Bronco Nima. I think Bronco Nima has a great upside to him for sure. Mm-hmm. Jada Parker was okay too as well. But yeah, I like Rizzo. I really do. She's green, but she does have potential in what she does. So, but yeah, like as far as match overall, I fairly enjoyed it.
All right. And then there was a backstage segment. I think it was on Sunday with JC Jane selling the JCU calendars.
Yeah, the OnlyFans calendars.
Yeah, there you go. And not Brian Pillman, but he is Brian Pillman. But Lexus King coming out to be a sleazeball like he usually is, and try to hit on Thea. Then Riley Osborne, defends her honor since Thea has a giant crush on Riley Osborne. And then they brawl, so I guess that's a feud, which I wouldn't mind. I'm looking forward to that. I wouldn't mind seeing that match.
The Chase U calendars sold out on WWE.com.
You bet your ass it is. Next is you had the Women's Championship, which originally was supposed to be Lyra Valkyria and Roxanne Perez. During the match, Lola Vice cashes in her breakout tournament contract to be a part of the match, which I thought was a little odd. But I mean, overall the match ended up being pretty good. I was like, oh, why not cash it in after, but not during? But I mean, good match. I mean, the match was able to kind of like hide the weaknesses of most girls, preferably Lola, which, again, I've said it before, I like Lola. She looks like a star. She gets better every time I see her in the ring. I mean, one avenue she really needs to improve on is promos, but, you know, again, like I've been saying, that's what the Performance Center is for. But she gets better in every match. I kind of understood why they decided to have her cash it in this early and not maybe like on another date and win, because I think they know maybe she's not ready yet, which to me is just like, then why give it to her? But whatever. I mean, it's kind of different with Oba, where Oba looks like something out of like a Marvel or DC movie, and he's supposedly 22 years old, which I'm like, how, where? But it's different with him, even though you and me have kind of like gone back and forth of like, is he ready? You know, is he really ready? Should he really get this spotlight this early? You know, just, you know, different, you know, ideologies. But I think with Lola, they kind of figured, okay, she's maybe not ready yet, so let's have her cash it in early and in a more protective way that kind of protects her, because I don't think she took the pin. Did she take the pin?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so, yeah. I think Lara pinned her.
Now, Keith is saying she didn't get pinned.
Are we sure about that?
Oh, that's what Keith is saying. But
whatever. Well,
I mean, either way, this protects Lola and doesn't make her look bad. It was a triple threat. But overall, good match. Good match with all three girls. I mean, we love Lyra on here. She's great. Roxanne, she's really shown more personality, and she's being more aggressive, and it looks believable on her, and doesn't look like she's just playing a role. Like, she looks aggressive out there, and it's working for her. And then again, Lola's great. So, and Lola and Roxanne had a really good match on Tuesday. So, but overall, what'd you think about this match?
I thought it was a very good women's match. Lola looked good here. Roxy, she's fucking Roxy. I love her. She's awesome. And Lyra, I fucking love her too as well. So Lyra and Roxy and Lola all did a great job here. You can't keep that fucking contract, whatever, on the breakout tournament contract on Lola too long. It's not, and it's really turned into Money in the Bank for NXT all of a sudden. Before it wasn't that. Before it was just like, hey, I'm gonna challenge you. Use my contract next week. You know what I mean? They didn't really use it as like fucking like Money in the Bank or whatever. So, but yeah, and they're still doing the storyline with Tam Paxley, who's been tremendous in her role. Helping out Lyra too as well. Yeah, helping out Lyra too as well. So, I won't say great women's match, but very good women's match, worthy being on pay-per-view. So, yeah, I can't complain about it.
Yeah, there you go. Next is Oba Femi versus Dragon Lee for the NXT North American Championship. Oba won. Kind of a predictable match. I mean, a good match, because Oba, a guy like Oba, you need to feed him smaller opponents, because he's going to have better matches with smaller opponents, a la, someone like a Brock, for example. So, and I think that's kind of, the idea is that they're going to give him, smaller guys, or just more so guys that can work and really kind of show him the ropes. So, but this is a good match, not a great match, but a good match. It was a match that looks more like the main event of an NXT on Wednesday, rather than a PLE match or a pay-per-view match, however you choose to refer it to as. But good match. I mean, it was able to kind of like really showcase, Oba's wrestling abilities with a guy like Dragon Lee, who's really good. I'm still confused as to if he's on the main roster anymore or on NXT, but
no, I think he's back in NXT to replace the loss of Wesley for a while.
Yeah, okay. But what'd you think of this match?
I won't say I didn't like the match, but you want to know what one thing that really fucking bothered me in this match? Dragon Lee getting the upper hand over Obafemi and Obafemi having to sell. Just, I didn't like that part.
Right.
I didn't like that. If you're serious about Obafemi, yeah, you can stop a 10-minute match, but have him be dominant for 8 of those minutes. Yes, give Dragon Lee some offense, right? Have him, look good in certain spots. But man, I think they really, I won't say they dropped the ball or anything like that with Obafemi, nothing like that. But I think they had an opportunity for his very first pay-per-view match, his first title defense for the North American Championship, to really make a mark on it. And I think they missed a mark here. Good match. I was entertained by it, but that bit of storytelling to me wasn't what I wanted to see.
Yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from. Like you know me, I'm very pro. Your big guys should be more dominant. Granted, Oba I think is a little bit more athletic than, like, say, I'm just gonna throw out a random name like a fucking Mason Ryan.
He's bigger than Mason Ryan, though.
Yeah, he's bigger than Mason Ryan. He can also work. He's a little bit more agile. I mean, he's an ex-athlete. Like, didn't he play college ball or something like that?
I think it had to have been football, definitely not basketball.
So, but yeah, I mean, I definitely do agree with that. Where it's just like, and I was kind of waiting for you to I was hoping you were kind of point that out a little bit of like, should Dragon Lee really begin this much offense? I mean, granted, Dragon Lee has like legs made of like tree trunks, but he really should not be looking that dominant. I mean, yeah,
he shouldn't be like Obafemi shouldn't be on the ground for more than like a couple minutes, and like Dragon Lee doing some offense as Obafemi's on the ground. Like, no, this is not fucking 2K24.
Right? They're like when Oba is like on the ground, it should be like a big deal. Like, the whole thing is like nobody's been able to take Oba, to the ground, and in his first match he's on the ground. It's like, yeah, it's again, he's definitely not buried, but it's just like that's not a good look for your next big dominant, guy. You know what I mean? Like, it should be like, Dragon Lee's going right at him and just like giving him a bunch of flurry punches, and Oba's just like, what the fuck, get off me, and then he just shoves him off. And then, like you said, for the majority of the match, it's just Oba beating the ever-living dog shit out of Dragon Lee. So, but again, fine match. Can't really... Complaining more about just how they booked the match. We'll just put it that way. But main event time, you had the NXT Championship. You had Ilya Dragunov versus Trick Williams. Good match. I mean, the aftermath, I think, kind of superseded the match itself, but a pretty good match. I don't think anyone thought Trick was actually going to win. During the match, there was some good storytelling to kind of like foreshadow what was possibly going to happen. Is Trick, quote unquote, hurt his leg, and the whole match he's selling the fact that he is essentially on one leg. And then there was a spot where they both run into each other, trying to do each other's finishing moves, and Ilya gets the upper hand. I mean, it's an Ilya match, so it's always going to be good. I don't think you're ever going to find a bad Ilya match. The worst you're going to find is it was just okay. But in this case, this is actually good. But Ilya got the win. Afterwards, Mello came into the ring, and they kind of swerved us for a little bit because Mello's holding Trick, and you see the logo on the bottom right hand corner. And it's like, oh, so I guess they're going to do this on Wednesday. And as Mello is right behind Trick, and Trick has his back turned, you just see Mello with this face of like, oh shit. And then he attacks Trick Williams.
They mistimed the logo on the bottom.
I think that was on purpose, because like I said, I felt like they were trying to swerve us a little bit to make it feel like that was...
No, what I mean by that is they mistimed it when they had the logo on there and went away for like 10, like, I don't know, it was just mistimed to me.
Okay, I get you. But Mello proceeded to beat the living dog shit out of Trick. And then, brought a steel chair in the ring and started, just whacking him with it. And you even saw blood. I don't know where Trick was bleeding, but you saw blood.
Oh, Trick was bleeding all during the match. He busted his lip in the first match.
Oh, there you go. And just Mello really kind of soaking in the booze. Just liking the fact that people are chanting "fuck Mello, fuck you Mello, fuck you Mello," and he even turns to the camera and winks. He's walking away. He's being like, "Yo, y'all can kiss my ass. This is y'all fault." And I like the fact that Mello's just being this cocky scumbag little prick heel, and he's not doing the traditional, "Oh, now that I'm a heel, I have to have a serious face and talk in a very monotone voice and be quiet and not show any emotion." No, he's still being the same Mello, except now he's a fucking dick. Like, he's just being this cocky little arrogant prick. And I like it. It works. But what'd you think about the match, and what'd you think about the aftermath?
I thought this was the best match that, that Trick Williams ever had in WWE. I mean, with that being said, it's against fucking Ilya too. So, but as I always say, it takes two to tango, and Trick looked good. He was up to task for this match. So, there was some stuff in there that could have done better. Still looks a little green, but overall, I thought he did a great job. Aftermath, I mean, we knew it was coming, but I was kind of thinking that Trick and Mel will win the Dusty Cup, and maybe, after that, and, they'll probably have him turn heel after losing the tag team title match or something like that. But they want to celebrate this because we only got 2 months before Stand and Deliver. So, it's now, people were saying, "Oh, this is better than Ciampa and Gargano." Please, guys, just whatever's new doesn't make it better. It's not. It was not better than Ciampa and Gargano, because we saw this, months ago that this was going to happen. Ciampa and Gargano was more like, "Oh, this could happen, this may happen," and it just happened out of fucking nowhere. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, this was telegraphed like for months. Ever since like October or November, wherever Trick got attacked. But despite that, I thought this was still great. Still great for what they did. So, can't wait to see the advancement of the storyline. We saw, I saw what happened on Tuesday, and I mean, looks like we're gonna know what our main event match will be for Stand and Deliver.
Overall, what's your letter grade for Vengeance Day?
I don't give letter grades, but I will give it out of a 10. I will probably give it maybe a 7 out of 10.
I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. So I guess like a C+.
Yeah.
But that was Vengeance Day. NXT usually has pretty good shows. They never really have bad shows. So, all right. So, kind of talk a little bit about Monday Night Raw. So the show opens with Seth coming out and just kind of talking about the events of the past week, which again are met with boos. The Rock getting booed and people chanting "Rocky sucks," and Seth being like, "Haven't heard that in a while."
Yeah. At least they were acknowledging it at the beginning. So,
and then Cody comes out, to a raucous applause. People, Cody is the biggest sympathetic babyface in wrestling right now. He's Cody Christ finally, after years of us joking about it. He's finally Cody Christ. And then Drew McIntyre comes out to kind of address the match and telling Cody and Seth, I made room clear for Cody and Roman to have their match, but now this shit happens, and I even got a new shirt, and he shows off the new shirt of him, doing the meme of them pointing at the grave of whatever. I think it was like the Flash, where like the Flash is like pointing at a grave of Oliver Queen. But it's Drew McIntyre, and it says, R.I.P. to CM Punk's WrestleMania main event dreams. And it's just, Drew just making the face of like, which is actually the second highest selling shirt as of now in, WWE, along with 2 Cody shirts. Again, just, we've said it before, Drew is doing the best work of his career right now. He's far more interesting. He's more entertaining. He makes Raw watchable. I mean, not to say Raw was unwatchable, but he's one of the best, selling points of Raw. He's probably the best selling point of Raw currently. Well, I mean, Cody. Cody is the selling point of. I think Cody's the selling point of WWE in general. Drew is a close second of the better parts of Raw. and WWE in general. So, but this ends with a big schmoz, and Drew. You see Drew like smiling outside the ring, saying, "Hey, maybe they might make it a triple threat." So that happened. But what'd you think about the opening segment?
Oh, it was great for what it was. Drew is doing a fantastic job in this role. Seth is great as well, and Cody coming out there, getting white fucking hot right now. Cody wrote, so yeah, I thought overall the segment was great for what it was.
Nice. And then next you had a Fatal 4-Way tag match. To determine who's going to face Mustache Mountain this Friday on SmackDown, to determine who's going to face Judgment Day at Elimination Chamber in Perth. You had the New Day, you had the Creeds, you had DIY, and then you had Imperium. Nice tag match, a fabulous tag match with all four teams. Again, kind of hoping they go with the Creeds. You and me both like the Creeds. A little surprised on how much they've cooled off since they had that tag match against Judgment Day. I was kind of hoping that
I still think they're fairly over. You know what I mean?
Right.
I still think the fans are gravitating towards them. I still think they're fairly over.
Right. I'm not saying they're buried, but like they've, for a while, leading up to that tag match against Judgment Day, they were really pushing them, and ever since then they've kind of, I don't want to say cooled off like entirely, but they've kind of cooled off a little bit. Like
you can only push so many tag teams. But that's what's so good about WWE's tag team division. They have a fucking shit ton of tag teams. Now, this is where you gotta split the fucking titles. You gotta split the titles now because you got way too many good tag teams. On both brands. Hopefully after Mania they'll split the tag titles. But DIY won it, which I wasn't too nuts about. But again, I like the Creeds. So it's going to be DIY versus Mustache Mountain this Friday. You think it's going to be DIY or Mustache Mountain that wins? Probably DIY. I think they have a little bit more gusto. And I think the fans will probably be behind them a little bit more for the rematch. But either way, I don't care. I mean, I care, but like, I do care, but I don't care because both matches, and I love both teams. Like they're gonna face off against Judgment Day, and it should be a great match regardless between both teams or whatever combination it happens. So I don't care. I just want to see a great match, a great title match. So maybe they'll be at Elimination Chamber.
Well, no, it's the winner is going to face.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry,
Judgment Day Elimination Chamber in Perth. Next is you had a Elimination Chamber qualifying match for the women's. You had Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler. They did something pretty interesting. I mean, they've been doing it lately where before the match you had promos. You had Baszler cut a promo to hype up the match, and then you have Becky walking to the ring cutting a promo hyping up the match. So I love that they're doing it.
Yeah, no, that's the new Kevin Dunn. They want to do that sports presentation,
which I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And it made the match feel important, and it was a pretty good match. Becky is Becky. She's one of the best. And Baszler, it's a shame that she hasn't gotten that push. I mean she's been pushed. It just hasn't worked. But she can still work. And it was a decent match, which, Becky, of course, got the win. And now she's in the Elimination Chamber. Next week, Liv Morgan will face Zoe Stark. And Liv Morgan's on her revenge tour to go after Rhea. Let me ask you something. Do you think it's going to be Liv versus Rhea at Mania?
I wouldn't mind that, but to me, I don't see how WWE doesn't involve Becky in a title match at Mania.
You're right. I mean, for all we know, there's surprises that we're not thinking about. And I was actually thinking about this earlier. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if it was Liv and Rhea. I wouldn't hate it, because I think from a storyline perspective, it makes sense.
Well, wouldn't that be like automatically like Liv ain't being no fucking Rhea Ripley?
Oh no, but I guess it's just one of those things of like we're gonna give Rhea a Mania moment because Rhea beat the shit out of her and took her out of commission, and now she's back, and now she wants revenge. We're gonna give her a Mania moment. I mean, Rhea and Becky is a Mania match. I mean, that's a main event of WrestleMania match.
Rhea lives a SummerSlam, not main event, but SummerSlam women's match. I don't see it as a Mania match. Not this year. Maybe next year. Maybe. But I can't see it this year. Now, I will say this. I'm not going to complain if Liv gets this opportunity. She fully deserves it, and I love Liv Morgan. But I'm just saying that if again, kind of like with the Rock thing, they want to make this the biggest WrestleMania of all time. Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley doesn't do that.
You're right.
And Rhea Ripley does that.
No, you're right. You're 1,000% right. But they can wait off until SummerSlam to have Liv and Rhea. Like that's, I guess, a little bit more appropriate for that kind of match. Right. What do we have next? Rhea Ripley interrupts the show, and then she calls out Nia Jax. Adam Pearce makes the match at Elimination Chamber between Rhea and Nia, and then they have a brawl. So, Elimination Chamber being in Perth, Australia, Rhea being the hometown girl, she's going to be pretty much God over there. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if that was the main event. Like, what about you? What do you think? Do you think that could be the main event?
I honestly, I mean, if it happens, it happens, but that's not a main event. I know it's Rhea and it's there, but if they wanted to make that a main event, they could have. I mean, I know they wouldn't because of a Mania match, but they could have done maybe Liv. They probably could have done Liv versus fucking Rhea here, and that could have been a main event. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I'll make that the main event match.
All right.
I mean, if it is, so be it, and Rhea fucking deserves it. But yeah, business wise and the way I look at it, and how the show's gonna be flowed, like I don't know if I will have that as my main event.
I guess to kind of like sidetrack, Bret Hart is a Rhea Ripley fan. He said Rhea makes wrestling look more realistic. So Bret is a fan of mommy, which is interesting to hear, I guess. Right. Akira Tozawa, Maxine Dupree versus Ivar and Valhalla. Maxine is just not good. She is so far my choice for maybe the worst female wrestler of the year. She's just...
Well, I mean, I don't want to, talk down on her about that, but...
I don't either.
I mean, you're like, this worst women's wrestler of the year. Like,
I mean, again, I hate being negative, but it's just like, she's not very good, and...
she's not the best in the ring, but, let me think. I'm pretty sure that we can find worse women's wrestlers out there than fucking. Well, probably not, but
I don't know. Just,
but I mean, she's. The fact is that she's trying, and is she getting better? Not really, but let her fucking try.
Just all in all, just like certain women, or not just women, but just certain wrestlers need to be in a role that they should be in. She's better off as a valet. She should not wrestle.
Yeah, no, I agree. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't fucking really matter because it's not a joke comedy feud at the end of the day. Right. So that's why I'm not really up in. Now, if this was Maxine versus Becky Lynch and this was the main event of Monday Night Raw, okay, that's a different story. But this wasn't this feud and what's going on, is not meant to be taken seriously in the first place. So that's why I'm not really bothered by it. So
no, I get you. And then next is you had a Judgment Day in the back, talking, and R-Truth coming back and say, "What's up, fam?" So R-Truth, still thinking that he's a part of Judgment Day, even though they just beat the piss out of him every week. And then Damian just saying "fuck it," you're welcome here. So, yeah. Then you have The Miz versus JD McFunpop, or McDonough, wherever you choose to call him. Miz got the win after R-Truth again fucks over, someone from the Judgment Day. He's trying to give people money, but they don't want to take it. So, yeah, that match happened. And then backstage there was a segment with Imperium talking to Pierce about Gunther's 600-day celebration as Intercontinental Champion, but then Braun Breaker interrupts to kind of go over more contract details with Mr. Pierce, so maybe that kind of sets up something at Mania between one Braun Breaker and one Gunther. So, we'll see. And then Gunther had his 600-day celebration. Jey Uso comes out. Jey Uso comes out to kind of make his plea of, does anyone want to see Jey Uso versus Gunther? Say yeet. And then Gunther, telling Jey Uso, pretty much just giving him backhanded compliments like any heel would of like, you're part of one of the greatest tag teams in history, but you're just a tag team guy in general. And if you try to come at me, I'll beat you so bad that you'll be running back to your family, essentially. And then they beat down Jay, and then New Day comes out to kind of even the odds, and then it's announced next week it'll be a 6-man of Imperium versus the New Day and Jay. So, but good segment. I don't know, how do you feel about Gunther talking a lot? Like, do you think he should be
fantastic?
Okay, I don't hate him. I think he's actually pretty good. I see a lot of people say he's not a good talker. I think he's a good talker, in my opinion.
No, he talks like if he's really talking to you in real life. He's not doing a wrestling promo. He's just talking shit, which he's a real dick. He can be a real dick, which I like. So I thought he did great.
Like he speaks very eloquently, and then he speaks very proper, and then he talks down on you. Like you said, he talks like he's really talking to you. It doesn't sound like a wrestling promo. Jay's good, even though Jay kind of like is a little over the top, but it works for Jay. Yeah, next week it's a 6-man, so cool. Right.
I mean, it looks like we're gonna get Gunther and Jay at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, which I wouldn't mind.
Thank God, because people were clamoring that for WrestleMania. I did not want to see that for Mania.
I mean, I wouldn't mind because again, I like Jay, and I would rather see Jay in a bigger match at Mania instead of his brother. But unfortunately, it looks like we're getting that.
I mean, that's the match I want to see.
I personally don't, but it's going to happen. Like you said, it's going to happen.
I mean, it's it's telegraphed. I mean, like who else would Jay face at Mania?
Gunther.
Okay, where does that leave Jimmy?
I don't give a fuck.
See, you can't think like that. You can't just be like, oh, well, I don't give a... Like, where does that leave Jimmy Uso? You're just going to leave him off WrestleMania?
Jimmy loses. All he does is lose.
Oh, okay.
He hasn't won a match.
Okay, so you're saying that Jimmy Uso is not important to the current state of WWE right now?
He's important in small doses, but he's not important as far as like the grand scheme of things.
I disagree with that.
Oh, just again, if they had built Jimmy up as an actual serious threat, or built him up almost as important as his brother, I would care about this match. But I don't care about this match because they haven't really built it up properly enough.
So, if you were so you'll just leave Jimmy off. In your opinion, you'll leave Jimmy off for WrestleMania, and you'll possibly have maybe Jay versus Gunther, which would be a good match. But I think Jay's beneath Gunther right now.
I mean, I think he should be on the card, but with Roman, helping Roman with whatever he needs. But just again, not everybody has to be on the card for WrestleMania. Just I don't know, just don't shoehorn things in, a la Dwayne. But yeah. But overall, just it's a match that's going to happen. But again, I imagine there's going to be proper build up leading up to it. And more than likely, if we do get Jay and Gunther at Elimination Chamber, Jimmy's going to come out and fuck with the match.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's going to lead to the their feud at Mania. So
right, but I digress. But next is you had a women's tag team title match: Kaden Carter and Katana Chance versus Kabuki Warriors. I didn't care about this match. The crowd did not care. So
I thought for what it was, I still thought it was a good match.
Right. I mean, yeah, Kabuki Warriors won. I don't have anything against any of the women in this match. I like Kaden Carter. I like Katana. I mean, I like Kaden a lot more. And then Kabuki Warriors are good. So, but the Kabuki Warriors won.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good, tag team women's match.
And then you had a main event of the night, which was a bull rope match between Nakamura and Cody. Good TV match.
Yeah,
I'll put it that way. Good TV match. You had a bull rope match. I don't know. This is just me, and this will never happen. There should have been blood. Like,
it probably was bleeding. You didn't see the end.
Come on. I'm talking about actual color.
I mean, it's WWE. Like, asking for blood at this point is like, going to Donald Trump's house and like, hey, can I have $2 million? Ain't gonna fucking happen. The only way we're gonna see blood if it's through the hard way, if it's by accident. WWE is a different show now. WWE's a different show. We can't think back of 20, 25 years ago because it's just not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. Yeah, unless if things change. But at that, certain sponsorships don't like blood. Mattel, they don't like the blood, things of that nature. You know what I mean? Certain advertisements don't want to be associated with blood and gore and things of that nature. Why do you think, like, back in the fucking, like, 2001, you had Stacker 2 Energy and fucking, White Men Nutrition, things of that nature? It was more than the blood. It was actually the storylines and the raunchiness as well. But WWE, they're serious about their money. They're serious about their product. Certain, like I said, certain particular, advertisements and sponsors don't want to be associated with that.
I don't know, I just, again, wishful thinking, because it's TKO, it's Endeavor, it's UFC. You would think that they would say, hey, you can have a little color in this match. But and to be thrown away on TV too as well. No, like, if they're gonna actually have blood, have it do it the right way, have it do it at a big event like a WrestleMania, right, which I'll be totally cool with. Like, who gives a fuck about a Monday Night Raw match with blood in it? Like, well, also I look at it this way: it's like everything's been going on with Cody. That would have been an interesting way to really kind of make Cody not just a martyr, but also kind of a badass. Just that visual of him holding the cowbell and he has blood on his face, like, ah! But, I don't know. Again, just...
Well, Darby Allin was bleeding tonight and no one seemed to care about that. Yeah, he doesn't bleed often.
Stop.
Just saying.
Stop it.
I'm just saying it, man. I'm just throwing it out there.
Stop it. John Moxley has ruined blood. But anyways...
I didn't mention John Moxley. I did not mention any John Moxley.
Anyways... Cody got the win as per expected. Drew McIntyre came out and leveled Cody to kind of like spice up the feud or possible feud or whatever. So that was Monday Night Raw. Good Raw. Pretty decent Raw. Other than a few kind of like, filler matches. But I enjoyed Raw. It was a good Raw. But what'd you think?
It was alright.
Okay. NXT happened. The show opened with Mello. What did it? Yeah, the show opened with Mello coming out, sitting in the middle of the ring in a chair with the spotlight on him and the fans chanting "Fuck you, Mello! Mello sucks!" Blah blah blah. And then he leaves and goes, "Not today." But then he comes back later and cuts his heel promo and talks about why he did what he did to Trick, saying that, Trick needed to learn his place. He's my hype man. And then addressed, did I attack Trick? You're damn right I did. And I'd do it again if you ever crossed me again. and did a spot where Trick's music hits, but Mello, played a prank on people, a la Shawn Michaels, in Montreal playing Bret Hart's music, which I liked. I thought that was great. Not as effective as Shawn's, but still pretty effective. There's a follower on Twitter on Twitter that says that Carmelo is Shawn Michaels' black son. I thought that was kind of funny. But and then he's like dancing along the Trick's theme, saying, that's all Trick's gonna do. He's gonna lay up in the hospital next to Booker T, singing that stupid ass song. And that, that's all, what is it? I forgot how the quote goes, where he's like, it is what it is, and that's all it's ever gonna be. So, there's that. What'd you think about the promo with Mello?
It was great, fantastic. Explained the reason behind of attacking him, and you can't ask for any more with that. So, Carmelo, to me, I think he's more of a natural heel anyway than a babyface. He's still a damn good babyface, and when he turns babyface on the main roster, it's gonna be great. But outside of that, I think he's perfect as a heel.
Definitely right about that. He's too cocky. He's way too cocky. He has too much of that cockiness to be a face. Eventually it's gonna work out for him later in the line, but as of now, he's much better as a heel. Let's see what else happened. Later in the night you had Dragunov come out to talk about the match and telling Trick, I like you. You have my respect. And then calls out Mello and says, Mello, come out here and face me like a man, or do you want to attack me from behind like a coward? And then Dijak comes out and they get into a little schmoz, and then Dijak, straight up punches Ilya right in the mouth, which I thought was, which I'm like, God damn, that was, you took a fucking right cross to the face. So then later on, the main event was Dijak and Ilya, which is fantastic because these two always seem to work well together. Just what else can you say? It was a good match as you expected. Ilya got the win. Afterwards, I'm not rushing through the show. I'm just kind of pointing out the big highlights, and they'll get to the rest of the show. But afterwards, Ilya's celebrating, and then afterwards, Mello attacks him from behind and beats him to kind of, not necessarily move on. Well, in his mind, he's moving on from Trick because he put Trick out of commission. But now he's going back after the NXT title. So, again, nice way to end NXT. Nice main event. Nice way to really make Mello look like this scumbag heel. And what else can you say? But what'd you think about the Ilya stuff?
Right. That was a good match with him and Dijak. Never had bad matches against each other, so can't complain about that. Mello coming out at the very end and attacking Ilya, holding up the NXT title. I know it's part of the storyline, but to me, the NXT title at this point is way beyond Carmel, so why would you want to go back to that, right? I'm not going to complain for another Ilya and Carmelo Swan Song NXT match. Definitely not going to complain. They're going to have a fucking fantastic match whenever it does happen. But it'll be telegraphed, and Trick Williams comes out and costs Mello. And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna challenge you. I want you at Stand Deliver," and so yeah.
Yeah, you're definitely right. Another thing I wanted to bring up that happened at Vengeance Day. So there was a vignette where it was just a quote, talking about a man has three faces: one that he doesn't show the world. Or one that he does show the world, one that he keeps to himself, and one that's, evil, or I think it was something along the lines of that. I don't know. What do you make of that? Who do you think that could be?
Julia.
Who?
Julia.
But it was saying a man.
It's a Japanese proverb.
Ah, okay.
So it's Julia.
Alrighty then. Right. Back to NXT.
Who did you think it is?
Someone said Okada.
No, it's not Okada. I think Okada's AEW bound.
Nah, we'll find out. Beginning of the show, you had Frazier and
I mean, by the way, I do want Okada in WWE. I just personally think he's AEW bound at this point. Especially after the announcement tonight.
Oh, we've talked about it ad nauseum.
Yeah.
First match, so you had Nathan Frazier and Axiom versus Idris Inoue and Malik Blade. Fantastic match. I like Idris Inoue and Malik Blade. I kind of wish they were treated as more of a bigger deal than they are.
They're kind of like the modern day. I mean, this tag team was still modern day NXT, but they feel like this version of NXT's Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch. A team that never was really taken seriously. They eventually win the tag team titles, but you know what I mean? Like it just feels like they're like a filler tag team. You know, get wins every now and then. You know, may get a title shot, but like never really win the big one until like a couple of years down the road.
All right, but I don't know. Kind of wish it would happen sooner. But good match between the two very talented athletic teams. Byron Saxton joined Vic Joseph on commentary while Booker T is still out. There's a rumor that CM Punk might be joining NXT commentary, which I wouldn't mind because CM Punk is good on commentary. There was that brief stint back in 2010 where he was on commentary and he was really good. He was really entertaining. So, we'll see. We already talked about the Dijak stuff. Lexus King versus Riley Osborne. King got the win. I kind of wanted the match to be better than it was. Wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. It was a match. I'll just put it that way. Osborne I like, but there's just something missing from him, and I don't know what it is. And then King is just King. He's the shit stirrer. He's the ultimate troll of NXT. So he's the scumbag. Let's see. But yeah, King got the win, and then Osborne is gonna have a Valentine's date next week with Thea Hale. We already got to Carmelo. And then they did a vignette for Kalani Jordan, who's Melo's girlfriend. You had Roxanne Perez versus Lola Vice. First time these two have had a singles match together. Fantastic match. Perez continues to improve in each match, and we all love Roxy. What else can we say? During the match, you had Tatum Paxley come out with Lola's her contract or whatever, and try to cash it in, which was weird. So she ended up costing her the match. Afterwards, Lola is chasing Tatum Paxley in the back, so I imagine we're going to get a match pretty soon from them. But what did you think about Lola and Roxanne's match?
It was I wouldn't go as far as saying fantastic, but it was a good TV match.
Yeah, there you go. Then next you had Lash Legend Jakara Jackson versus Fallon Henley and Ren Sinclair. Legend and Jackson got the win, which I don't necessarily agree with, but they got the win. I like that they're pairing. I still call her Maddie. Fuck it. I like that they're pairing Maddie with Fallon. Fallon is gonna be a women's champion pretty soon. When that happens, more than likely towards the end of the year. But Fallon is one of the biggest baby faces in the women's division, so it's smart pairing Sinclair with her. But kind of wish they got a win here. And next is your favorite segment of the night. Mr. Stone's kids convinced their dad to team up with Von Wagner.
Oh, baby.
Would you call that the segment of the year?
Oh, yeah. Fantastic.
Nice. In the locker room, Josh Briggs gave Brooks a reality check, telling him to stop whining and start fighting for a spot.
This I loved. I love this segment.
I like Josh Briggs. I like Josh Briggs getting this main event spot. I like that he's shown more tenacity and shown more of an aggressive side instead of being the happy-go-lucky Southerner. now he's more of a badass. He's more meaner. You know, he's acting more like Bradshaw after he got advice from Bradshaw. So I liked it. I liked that he just got right in his face and said, you know, stop being a bitch. So good. And also, I like Jensen. I want to see him used more. And let's see what happened next. Jada Parker ended up getting a wrestling match against Adriana Rizzo next week. And Ridge Holland has a shot against Gallus next week. And then, of course, the main event was Ilya versus Dijak, which we already discussed. And Ava getting thank you, Ava chance at the end of the show. So, good for her. But that was NXT, people. So let's talk about ratings. TV ratings. I have them right here. Ah, man, sorry, I have allergies. Alright. Let's start from Dynamite last week. Last week? Was it last week? Oh, yeah, last week. So last week, Dynamite had an 818. This was the January 31st edition of Dynamite. They had an 818,000 with a .26 demo. SmackDown had a 2.
Up or down?
Let me check. It's actually down.
Okay.
No, wait. I said 818, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's down because the previous week it was an 837.
Gotcha. Okay.
SmackDown had a 2.469 in the rating, a .74 demo, which is actually a higher than the previous week. So good on them.
Yeah. Royal Rumble. After Royal Rumble, yeah, SmackDown for sure. Yeah, post show.
Let's see. Rampage. Rampage on Saturday had a 314,000 with a
Friday,
.10.
you mean, for Rampage, right? Or Collision?
Friday, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Rampage. 314,000 with a .10 in the demo. And then Collision had a 404,000 with a .12 in the demo. Monday Night Raw.
Were those up or down?
Let me check. So Collision was 404. It's actually down.
For Collision?
Yeah.
Okay, not surprised by that.
The previous week was 441.
Gotcha. Okay.
Raw last week was a 1.686. This week they were a 1.889, which is up. With a .58 in the demo. NXT.
I think that was more of the Cody, the whole backlash and stuff. But it actually worked in their favor. So
NXT had a jump in the ratings this week, 650, with a .19. So those are the ratings for this week. And let's get into the news. So today, Scott D'Amore was fired as TNA president by Anthem Sports. TNA Wrestling Scott D'Amore, or TNA Wrestling President Scott D'Amore has been let go, with Anthony Ciccione of TNA's parent company Anthem Sports and Entertainment Inc. taking over as the new president. The company's press release states that the intent is to further integrate TNA into Anthem's entertainment group, which Ciccione is already the president of. According to PW Insider, it is believed that the decision came directly from Anthem's owner, Len Asper. As echoed by the official statement, Anthem management will be taking on a larger role in the day-to-day operations of TNA, with Ciccione leading that charge. And then, less than a month ago, was when Impact Wrestling went back to TNA. So, according to Fightful Select, Anthem management met with TNA talent over Zoom this afternoon. The report also quoted one talent. What the fuck? What? Did you just skip over the comment? The report also quoted one talent who understood the reasoning behind the change, but credited D'Amore with saving the promotion. Ciccione has no direct experience working in the professional wrestling industry. That should be lovely. The Anthem press release touted his history of executive-level management experience, specifically referring to cable and digital channels. It is unknown how the company intends to handle the creative process moving forward, In addition to his management duties, D'Amore was previously a key part of the team in charge of booking TNA's TV shows and pay-per-views. So, I mean, that's a shock. I mean, because Scott D'Amore has been... Scott D'Amore has been part of TNA since its infancy, essentially. And
I mean, he did leave for a little while. He came back in like 2016, but yeah.
Right, so definitely a shock because we're talking about TNA last month. We were talking about the pay-per-view. We did enjoy the pay-per-view, and Scott D'Amore has been a big part of TNA since the beginning. More so when he came back to run the day-to-day operations and book the show, and he kind of not necessarily gave it mainstream press, because at the end of the day, TNA is on a network that not many people have access. But he's, booked the show and made it watchable. Who was ever able to watch it. So for him to be straight up fired is just, I don't know. There's got to be something we don't know. And again, I don't want to speculate and say there was nefarious reasons. I hope not. But for him to just be fired just because, just doesn't. To me, just doesn't add up. But it does suck for Scott D'Amore because he was obviously very well liked by the talent. A lot of the talent did, love Scott D'Amore. It really does suck for Scott D'Amore. But overall, what'd you think about the news?
I mean, it's a great loss for TNA. I mean, this is your head booker, your president of the company itself being let go, and now you're having someone who's never ran a wrestling promotion before, or doesn't have a wrestling background whatsoever, now running it. It's kind of like Jim Herd, running WCW in the early 90s. And, even though you still had like great moments in there, overall you had a down moment. So hopefully, yes, he'll be head booker or whatnot, or head of that. But man, I really hope they put someone there that's already within the company to help out. I mean, they do have veterans back there, but I don't know if anyone wants to take the role of the booking. I know for a fact that Brian Myers, aka Kurt Hawkins, he even said on the Wrestling Figure podcast I listen to every week that he tried being an agent before and he didn't really like it too much. So him being a head booker, I don't really see that. If he does it, great, because he has a great wrestling mind. He fucking loves ECW. But you got Bully Ray there too as well. I don't know if Bully wants to be a part or something like that, and Tommy Dreamer too. So there are names there that can definitely help out, that have the experience. But man, losing Scott D'Amore, man, that's like a huge blow for TNA. Hopefully they can still keep up their momentum, but it's just really, really terrible timing for all this. Now the question is, Scott D'Amore, he's now out of TNA. Like, I want to ask you this, Drew. Do you still see him being involved in professional wrestling, or what do you think the future of Scott D'Amore is?
I think he still wants to be in wrestling. Just kind of based on how his heart and soul was put into TNA for like the past, 7, ish years. I still think he'll be involved in wrestling. Where he goes, I don't know. I don't see him going to WWE because I don't know if he has a place in WWE. I mean,
there is that built-in relationship with at least Scott D'Amore and Triple H, I think.
Oh yeah, like again,
because of Jordan Grace.
It wouldn't surprise me if Triple H, is like texting him right now saying, "Hey, we have a place for you. You can be a producer. You can book the shows. When I'm not here. Like you can be my second in command, essentially." I mean, I guess not really wishful thinking, but maybe glass half full, view is he can go to AEW and book Ring of Honor, or maybe book AEW and let Tony run the business side. But that's never going to fucking happen. Nah, Tony's not going to let anyone else book the show, which he honestly should, because I mean, yeah, but like you said, there's that built-in relationship and that trust with Triple H and Scott D'Amore. So maybe Triple H might bring him in as like his new right hand. Like when he's like when Triple H has to go and do business stuff, Scott D'Amore can be the guy running the show. He can be the new Bruce, or not Bruce Pritchard, like as far as like be him, but just like take over Bruce Pritchard's spot as far as like booking the show and running the show. So, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Oh shit! I'm still doing. I'm still.
Yeah, I'm okay.
I'm like, go ahead, Justin. I have a few news articles. So this kind of like tells us what we already know about Vince McMahon. Ari Emanuel apparently told Vince McMahon it was best if he resigns. In an update from The Hollywood Reporter, it was stated that Vince McMahon's resignation came at the behest of TKP CEO Ari Emanuel, told COO Mark Shapiro, as they told him it would be in the best interest of the company for him to resign. McMahon is said to have agreed and thus tendered his resignation, with Nick Khan later delivering an internal memo that McMahon was gone and wouldn't be returning. So, basically telling us what we already know, that because it happened the very next day after these speculation, or not speculations, but allegations came out, and Ari Emanuel giving that statement saying we're going to look into it, and then the very next day, like literally like the hour before SmackDown came on, was the announcement that Vince McMahon resigned. So again, obviously you needed to do that. I mean, it probably should have happened sooner, a lot quicker, but it happened. So, but any thoughts on that before I move on?
No comment. Or
right.
Nothing to add, rather.
And this is also another unfortunate story with the topic at hand. So, John Laurinaitis, but his defense team is saying that he's a victim too. Blah, blah, blah. However you choose to think of that. In a new report from Vice, former WWE head of talent relations John Laurinaitis' attorney has confirmed that the former WWE executive, as well as quote-unquote most upper-level management, knew about Ashley Massaro's claim, despite company denials of said knowledge, if anyone isn't familiar with the story. So, Ashley Massaro told a story, and this is before she ultimately passed away, where she was at a tribute to the troops thing overseas, and that she was assaulted by one of the troops there, and that WWE knew about it and they covered it up. And when she told Vince about it, Vince just said, well, we can't let this leak out, or we can't do tribute to the troops anymore. So again, allegedly. I know Paul London, who used to date Ashley Massaro, had told a story about how Vince would always harass her while she worked in the company, and he said, straight up, I'm going to believe my girlfriend at the time. So, going back to what we said about Laurinaitis, is Laurinaitis' confirmation of management's knowledge corroborates the account of Ferdinand Rios, the former WWE doctor to whom Massaro reported the assault, the rape, who said that he reported the incident to management. Laurinaitis' admission comes following the former WWE head of talent relations dissociated himself from accusations of abuse and sex trafficking from former WWE employee Janelle Grant. Laurinaitis confirmed many of Grant's accusations by admitting that he himself was a victim of McMahon's manipulations. Furthermore, the report reveals that the Naval Criminal Intelligence Service opened an investigation into Massaro's claim, though the findings of said investigation are not known. And then McMahon retired, as we all know. So, not retired, but resigned. But any thoughts about this?
Yeah. Anyone that knew about this, upper management, including John Laurinaitis, are pieces of shits, and they deserve what happens to them. Fuck them.
Yeah, agreed. I remember actually covering this a long time ago. And this is when I was still kind of doing solo shows. I talked about this, and this is disgusting. And anyone that knew about this, anyone that covered up and didn't do shit to help this poor girl, fuck them. They can all burn in hell. We'll kind of end the news a little bit more, on happier news. Backstage update on NJPW Stardom star Julia potentially signing with WWE. NJPW Strong Women's Champion Julia has rumored to be heading to WWE for a number of months, and a recent report has disclosed when she could potentially join the promotion. The Stardom wrestler's contract is set to expire in March, and she will remain in her homeland at least for the immediate future. A big piece of news coming out of Stardom this week was the departure of the company's founder, Rossi Ogawa, who was fired on February 4th for allegedly trying to poach talent from a new promotion.
Which is gigantic news. Like, if this was like in America, like, this news will still be talked about right now. But since no one fucking watched Stardom here, they're like, oh, it's I don't know what's going on, but it's on the radar. Like Rossi Ogawa is basically the fucking Vince McMahon of I mean, not as far as like personality wise, obviously, but like as far as like being a promoter. Basically the Vince McMahon of fucking women's wrestling in Japan, and like he made stars over there like Io and Asuka. Well, Asuka fucking hates him apparently. Kyrie and Blair Davenport and Julia and like the list goes on and on and on. Fucking Carl Shida. So he's like super fucking important and powerful over there in Japan as far as being a promoter. I just want to get that out there to set the record straight.
A number of the Stardom roster expected to follow him out of loyalty. According to Dave Meltzer of Wrestling Observer Radio, Julia will be one of those stars. Meltzer went on to say the reason she is delaying her WWE start is so she can at least be there to kick off the promotion for a while and get the promotion going, but then she is going to end up with WWE at this point. But when WWE was interested in her, she basically gave her word she would help him start out, and that's what she's going to do. She's actually postponing her WWE debut because she had given her word. Tayo Okada, not the other Okada, will assume the role of Booker in Ogawa's absence, but it is unclear how many stars we'll have to work with. Yeah. Well,
Tom Nakano's staying with Stardom, so I guess that's a start. So you got Tom Nakano and you got Mayu Iotani. So yeah, I mean, which is two big stars there. So.
But I mean, based on what you just said, looks like she's going to be debuting soon. I mean, not soon, but soon. Based on that vignette. So, just again, I don't know much about this girl. I just know what you've told me and clips. So, we'll see. We'll see what she can do in WWE. But that's all the news I got.
I got three pieces of news here. First and foremost here, ESPN, Fox, and Warner Bros. Discovery to launch a joint sports streaming network. Don't know when, don't know how, don't know why, but this could be the reason why, and this is just me speculating now, this could be the reason why AEW has yet to get a streaming broadcast with Warner Bros. Discovery and to be put on Max. Due to perhaps they may be possibly on this new streaming network, so there hasn't been any like details about like how much it is or what's the name's gonna be, but it is very random because you got Turner, you got Fox, and you got Disney ESPN to join together for a sports streaming network. So for wrestling terms, this is really important just AEW. Do you think this is the possible reason why the delay of possibly getting AEW on Max, quote unquote? Do you think this could be one of the reasons?
I mean, it could be. I'm not too. When it comes to like business stuff, I'm not too familiar with it. I don't educate myself as much as I should when it comes to like business and logistics. So, I mean, what do you think? Do you think this could be kind of like a downer for AEW?
A downer?
As far as like, delaying or maybe not even happening.
Oh no! What I said was I think this could be the reason why it was delayed, and they may end up being on this particular streaming platform if this was in the works.
That's what I meant. Well, I said delay and maybe not happening, but whatever this streaming thing ends up being, do you think all in all it's going to end up on the service?
It's a possibility. Definitely a possibility, because I know that's the route that they want to go. They definitely want to get into the streaming process, and if you remember a couple weeks ago, read a story here that AEW, they, it seems like their product will be a hybrid, TV streaming product. It could be a possibility that this is what they could possibly be on. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. On that. So. Any other things you want to close out with before we move on?
Nope.
All right. So next here, former NWA's Women's Champion Camille at this time is no longer expected to be WWE bound. While there has been interest, and according to one WWE source in the past, have been offered an NXT deal, discussions are not moving forward. Camille's has been in deep discussions with AEW. It has been seen as a stronger destination for her, as it will allow her to pursue another major personal goal moving forward, additional acting work. That's coming from PW Insider. So it seems like, according to PW Insider, Camille may not be WWE bound, but she may be all elite.
Okay.
I mean, anything you want to comment on?
I mean, just again, we've talked about this whole thing with the women. It's just like, it doesn't matter who you bring in; it just matters how you book it. And for someone like Camille, she's not a massive star, but she's massive. She's a big girl. She's tall. How are you going to book her in AEW?
Yeah, true. So just playing devil's advocate here. What's her ceiling in WWE if she were to win to WWE? Because the women's division in WWE is at all time gold. It's like the fucking golden age right now.
I'm gonna answer that. This is gonna sound like I'm dancing around the question, but I'm not. But she has a ceiling, but it all depends on how she's being booked.
Okay, so in comparison to WWE to AEW, where do you think her heart, where do you think she'll be more successful at, or more successful in?
I mean, aesthetically, she should go to WWE because she looks like she would work out better, and also she has that history with Nick Aldis. Like, that almost seemed like the perfect, pairing is bring her into WWE and have her be Nick Aldis's muscle, and then eventually, how over she gets and how the crowd responds to her, she can be, I don't want to say the next China, but she's, your next big woman.
But do you think there's too many women like Camille in WWE that's already better than Camille?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Rhea. Would you count Bianca as a big girl, as a muscular girl?
Yes.
Okay. I love Raquel. Raquel hasn't gotten there yet, but I think she can.
I mean, you got. I'll just go straight into it. You got Rhea. You got Bianca. You got Jade. You got Ivy Nile. You got who else? Who else should I be fucking naming at this fucking point in time? You know what I mean? Like, you got all these women that are, I won't say looks better, but Jade. I thought I said Jade. I'm sorry. Jade, of course. Like, Camille, she'll probably have success if she's with Nick Aldis, but again, it's not even guaranteed that Nick Aldis is even going to be fucking wrestling, long term. And once he's done, it's like, oh, we've got another, big jack girl, but we got 5-6 other girls here that's better than her. Personally, I think her going to AEW is probably a better move for her career. I think she understands that. I mean, again, I don't trust Tony Khan for the booking, but but she would be more special in AEW than what she would in WWE.
Yeah, I guess if you look at it that way. I mean, I guess since you kind of put it that way, it makes sense.
So, alrighty. Next. Prosecutors in Orange County, Florida, have moved forward with pursuing criminal charges against Daniel Cash Wheeler. Wheeler was arrested in August last year following what was described as a road rage incident, which he allegedly flashed a gun at another party in January. Pleading not guilty on August 3rd, Wheeler turned himself in on August 17th. And the next day was arranged. And this was before All In, and people thought he was going to miss All In, which he didn't. They had their match at All In against the Young Bucks. So, FTR Outside Collision is not on fucking AEW TV whatsoever. It seems like to me FTR, ever since Punk Love, is being pushed out of the fold in AEW, which is fucking crazy because FTR is like one of the best tag teams ever. What do you think comes out of this? Do you think this will affect the career of Cash Wheeler and and the tag team of FTR? What do you think comes out of this?
I mean, you kind of already said it. They're not really doing anything on the show, and FTR is one of the top 3 tag teams in pretty much the world of wrestling. So, again, like, the whole situation with it was Cash, right?
Right.
Like, and I'm a criminal justice major. I'm not going to pretend I'm a lawyer or anything, but, like, to me, Brian Last said something kind of interesting about the case where all Cash has to do is just say, what gun? And that's it. And again, I'm not trying to fancy Brian Last for like law advice, but I think at this point they're already kind of affected, because they're not pushed right, and it's weird because they're FTR. And again, they're not my favorite team, but I'll acknowledge that they're one of the best teams in the world, maybe even the best.
I think it's really more of because we're friends with CM Punk, and I think Tony Khan is kind of like, yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that's kind of how I think about it.
All right. How many more things I got here? Okay, this is my last one. Yeah, it's my last one. And lastly, not a lot of meat behind this here, but just thing to keep an eye for. Dijak's WWE contract is up in the spring/summer of this year. I'll ask you this. I know you're a big Dijak guy. Do you see Dijak re-signing with WWE or WWE? Approach him for a re-sign.
I think if they have something for him, he'll resign because what Dijak is
always. Do you even think that WWE will resign him?
I think they want to re-sign him, but I also think it comes down to Dijak because with Dijak, and I love Dijak. I've been a fan of his since I've seen him, but he's also a guy like it almost seems like they're going back and forth of like what do they want to do with him? Do they want to make him the top guy? Do they want to make him the quarterback, or do they just want to make him the backup quarterback? So I think they need to make him the top guy if they want him to resign back. That's how I view it, and I think Dijak.
Yeah, I don't see that happening anytime soon in the NXT.
Personally, I don't, and I love Dijak, but I think he should be, because he's. And there's another weird thing about Dijak is he's one of those guys that you see him on social media and he's just so really entertaining, and you see him on television, you're like, why aren't you doing this with this? You know what I mean? It's like when I know it's like two different guys, but it's like with Big E, where when Big E was brought into the main roster, he was just like the stone-faced, robotic henchman, and then you see him on social media, and he's like really funny. It's like why don't you do that? And I don't get why Dijak just doesn't interject some of that personality, that he portrays on social media.
Because of his gimmick. It's because of his gimmick. His gimmick doesn't allow that.
I mean, they maybe should make a change because.
Well, yeah, and I think we had this conversation like a couple months ago where I was like, this gimmick, I like it, but like it's not. It has a small shelf life because he can't do much with it, and it's not a main event gimmick because of the fact that it's too close. Like they gotta let him be him and have a personality and things of that nature. So although like he's having success with it, he only has such a ceiling with this particular gimmick. Although he's doing a great job with it, but like they need a, I don't know, I don't know what else they can do with him because he was fucking T-Bar, and he was just Dominic Dijakovic, and it's like. It's like what else do you do with this guy?
Yeah, I mean, just it's unfortunate because this should be a guy that should have been a champion already. I mean,
and I agree.
I mean, he should have at least been North American champion by now. But this guy hasn't won any titles in the company at all, and it's like, what is this guy doing wrong? And this kind of goes back to what I was saying. Like, he has such a good personality on social media. Why doesn't somebody have the wherewithal? Why doesn't Shawn Michaels see that and go, how about we do this? How about we give you a personality?
I say the same thing about Maximum Male Models, Mason fucking Mansoor. They are fucking hilarious on their fucking Twitch. They're just big wrestling nerds and fucking hilarious. And it's like, fuck, man, like how come we couldn't have these guys, in fucking WWE? So no, I totally get what you're saying.
Right. I also think it may be like a thing of like Dijak is he tries to be a little tongue in cheek on social media, so I don't know if they would allow that on television. So, but again, it's just, and also I think maybe sometimes personalities in real life aren't always going to translate well to television. But again, it's just like, I love Dijak. I kind of hope he does stay. But it's just one of those things of like, how does he feel? Like, are you just going to sign me back just to be a guy who can go out there and have good matches, but not really do anything with? Or are you going to sign me back and let me be the guy? It's kind of like Swerve, for example. And I don't know if you have those in your notes about what Swerve said about WWE recently, where like he did that interview with Chris Van Fleet where he talked about, kind of being in the same spot that Dijak is in right now. I mean, he didn't say Dijak outright, but like he said, kind of like what I said, like Swerve was the guy to go out there and like put over the talent they want him to put over, and he would text Triple H constantly like, when am I going to be one of your guys? And I don't know if there was any heat between him and Triple H, but he never really got a response. And then one day he just talked to Shawn Michaels, and Shawn kind of took him under his wing and helped him out. And kind of like what I said, Shawn looked at old tapes of him in like Progress and CZW, and it's like, how's about we bring this guy in NXT? Where's this guy? And it worked for a little bit, and then eventually he got let go. So
he got Vince McMahon. That's what happened.
He got Vince McMahon. There you go. So again, I think it's a matter of how Dijak feels. If Dijak wants to just sign back and just go about his day and get paid and go out there and have good matches, cool. There's no shame in that. But again, I don't know how Dijak feels. I don't know if Dijak just wants to. Point is, does Dijak want to be one of the guys or just the guy? I think he wants to be the guy. That's just my opinion, and I think he can be the guy. But we won't find out anything until June.
Right. All right. Well, that's all I got for news.
And then let's just end it off with this day in wrestling history. 1984. So today's date is February 7th. In 1984, New Year Golden Series is held in Tokyo, Japan. In the final of the Triangle Series, the Dynamite Kid defeats the Cobra to win the vacant WWF Junior Heavyweight title. 1987, in Fort Worth, Texas, Chris Adams and Terry Taylor defeat Rick Steiner and Sting in a tournament final to win the UWF World Tag Team Championship belts. Taylor had held the belts with Hacksaw Jim Duggan, but they were vacated when Duggan left for WWF after he lost a loser leaves town match to One Man Gang a few weeks earlier. 1989, Larry Zbyszko became the new AEW World AWA.
I was saying, yeah, AWA.
AWA World Heavyweight Championship in St. Paul, Minnesota. A battle royal was held to crown a new champion after Jerry Lawler was stripped of the title due to the AWA and CWA parting ways, and Zbyszko last eliminated Tom Zenk to claim the belt.
C-Man.
1992, at a house show in Denver, Colorado, the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase and Erwin R. Shyster, known as Money Inc., defeated the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal, Legion of Doom, to win the WWF Tag Team Championship belts. You won't find this one anywhere. Hawk and Animal only agreed to drop the belts to Money Inc. if the match wasn't recorded, and some fans speculate even if it took place. 1992, that same year, Buzz Sawyer died as a result of a heart attack brought on by drug overdose. He was 33 years old. 2000, WCW Nitro was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. On the show, Bam Bam Bigelow defeated Brian Knobbs to win the WCW Hardcore Championship, and Rick Steiner delivered his infamous shoot promo, Scott Steiner, I'm sorry, delivered his infamous shoot promo about Ric Flair and the company, saying, "When you walked down that aisle last week, I know I wasn't alone, because the people at home, all they did was grab their remote, change the channel to WWF, and watch Stone Cold Steve Austin, a person you and your friends got fired from here because you're a jealous old bastard." And finishing with, "You belong where you're at in WCW because WCW sucks, and so do you." Because of this outburst, Steiner was suspended for 2 weeks with full pay. Do you remember that promo?
Absolutely. He was like, "You crooked, stupid yellow teeth." And and Bob Bagwell's in the ring. He's like, "Oh shit." He's like, "Oh shit." Like, oh my god, why is he saying this? Yeah.
Did you ever talk to Buff about that?
No, I ain't talking about that. I talked to him about his. We talked more about like his earlier like career, like when he was like the plucky babyface, and how because I told him, I was like, when I first saw this movie, it was called the Buff Blockbuster, and like now like on WWE they just call it the Blockbuster, like when Seth Rollins does a move, and he's like, you know what, you're right. They never gave me credit for that. And he talked about like when he got fired, and how the story was like actually bullshit, and Jim Ross didn't really like Jim Ross just like called him up or something like that. Yeah, so.
All right. 2004, Chris Hero won the IWA Mid-South Heavyweight Championship in a 2 out of 3 falls match against CM Punk. The match lasted in excess of 92 minutes.
I'm sure that was bar burner.
Yeah, I saw that on Punk's documentary, but I don't know where you can find that. 2008, WWE announced that it would be immediately severing ties with longtime developmental territory OVW, and then in place they brought in FCW. So that was pretty big. And lastly on here, 2014, WSU Women's Superstars Uncensored held their third quote-unquote secret show in an unknown location in New Jersey. On the card, Mickey Knuckles pins Kimberly. America's Sweethearts, Santana Garrett, Amber O'Neil defeated Nevaeh and Christina Von Eerie by pinfall. Alpha Male defeat Barracuda Brittany. Alpha Male beat Jenny Rose by submission. Athena pinned Hania, the Howling Huntress. Candice LeRae beat Chris Dickinson in an intergender match. And Jessica Havoc pinned Shayna to retain the WSU championship. And then
a lot of future mainstay women's wrestlers on that card.
Mm-hmm. Notable birthdays. Hikuleo. I don't know if you know who that is. Hikuleo?
Hikuleo, yeah. We talked about him like many times on this podcast.
he is celebrating his 33rd birthday today, so happy birthday. Rusty Brooks, I'm not sure if he's alive or dead. He's actually the same age as my mom, so he'll be 66 today, if he is still alive. And Kim Duck was born in 48. Not sure if he's still alive, but happy birthday to all three. And that's everything I have for this day in wrestling history. And that's the show. That's everything we discussed about the show. Fun show. Really action-packed show. A big chunk of it went to, obviously, The Rock, Cody, and Roman talk, which, as you would imagine, we're going to discuss that in in-depth detail. But this is a fun show. We did close to 2.5 hours. It didn't feel like 2.5 hours. Kind of breezed by rather quickly. In a good way. It was paced well tonight. But I want to thank everybody, as usual, for coming out tonight to listen to the show, to support us. And thank you to everybody who does support the show and who does subscribe and share and does show them some love. Shout outs to pretty much everybody from our circle. RJ, of course, Monty, Ruben Prime, Jeff Lippman, Wrestling Soup, Mish, who gave us the platform to do the show, so shout out to Mish. And John Draper, of course, our friends of the show, Bish O'Brien, Shaheen, all on Spitball Media, which will be tomorrow. And then, of course, Kevin Castle and Trez, and anyone who is a fan of Kevin Castle and DT. They just started, or no, they didn't just start, but they brought back the DTKC show. So it is back to being on Monday nights after Raw on the DTKC Patreon channel. So DTKC is back. So, and just shout out to everybody else who does support the show and show us some love. And where you can find me, I'm easy to find. You can find me on X, Twitter, whatever you choose to call it. I still call it Twitter. I have an Instagram page. You can follow me on there. That's a little bit more personal. It's not really for the show. It's more just me. I have a Facebook page. There's also a YouTube page. I accept subscriptions to that. They're free, of course. What isn't free is Patreon. Patreon is $5 a month, and we're gonna put out as many shows as we can. Lately, me and Ruben Prime, we do a show called Culture Attack, which is usually every other Monday. We just did a show recently, so that was a fun show. We talked mainly about wrestling. It was a wrestling-oriented show. For the most part, it's usually a show that we don't talk too much about wrestling, but we're interjecting wrestling in there, because. And we also talk about entertainment, movies, anything interesting that just happened. Me and RJ do a show, which we're going to try to do that show a lot more prevalently every other Wednesday morning. Revenge of the Savage Nerds, or just Savage Nerds, where we just talk about movies, mainly comic book news. So if you're a fan of like Marvel, DC, TV shows, movies, what have you, we got you covered. So there's that. Me and Jeff Lippman do a show, which we haven't done one lately, but we've been trying to make it happen. Garden of Droom. So we're going to try and get one up there as soon as we can. So that's what you're going to get on Patreon for only $5 a month. That's everything from me, Justin. Tell everybody about Spinebuster Tees.
Yeah, SpinebusterTees.com. Go and check it out. Got the winter sale up right now, 10% off. If you spend over $50, or I'm sorry, if you spend over $40, my bad. I always say 50, but it's over 40. If you spend over $40, you get free shipping as well. Got plenty of designs on the website, over 20 designs on the website. Go check it out. The Just Enjoy Wrestling t-shirt, the one that everyone loves, my original design, Weapons of Pro Wrestling t-shirt, Match Types of Pro Wrestling t-shirt, the I Am Pro Wrestling t-shirt, the Mommy t-shirt, which is the Rhea Ripley inspired t-shirt, the Hardcore Wrestling t-shirt. Have a lot of designs on the website. Pick a array of colors for your perfect wrestling needs. Also, if you're in the San Antonio area, come visit Spinebuster Tees inside Wonderland of America's Mall. Plenty of memorabilia, action figures, Funko Pops, t-shirts, obviously. trading cards and all the great stuff that you'll see there. But yeah, visit me on Spinebuster Tees on Instagram to keep up to date on what I have available in stock. And also, yeah, just, just keep up with me. And you can always message me as well. If you want to get something shipped out to you, I can kind of explain to you how that can all work for you as well. That's Spinebuster Tees on Instagram and spinebustertees.com.
.com. But that's all the show we have for today. Oh yeah, next Wednesday is Valentine's Day. Forgot about that. So
No joke.
you're the wife in the background. So do you still want to do a show next week, or do you want to like move it to a different night?
It is up to you. I am open.
You want to do one next Friday, just so we can like cover pretty much the whole week of wrestling?
I don't know if I got plans for next Friday.
Or we can do it Tuesday after NXT.
Yeah, next Friday's all right.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, next Friday. It'll be next Friday, not Wednesdays, due to Valentine's Day. But yeah, it'll be next Friday after SmackDown. But anyways, we're done. We are done for the night. We will see you next week. Same time, same channel, different day, just for that week. But take care, peeps, and I guess in advance, happy Valentine's Day to everybody. If you have a special somebody you're spending it with, have fun. If not, I don't know, try to have fun, I guess. But we're done, peeps. See you next week. Peace.
Peace.
The Drew Yari Show.
It's Drew Yari. It's Drew Yari.
The Drew Yari Show.
It's Drew Yari.